Well, as you would have seen on the news, the east coast of the USA has been hit by some horrendous weather in the last few days. This is the scene on Saturday at the tennis centre at Key Biscayne. Cyclones, some unseasonal snow and many tragedies in the USA with this terrible weather. And the tennis centre was almost devastated on the Saturday. The crowds were taken out of the stands for their own safety, but the workers have been out there cleaning things up. And fortunately, the tennis centre is now back in shape, and the players are able to play, although having to contend with some tough conditions.
Well, so far it doesn't seem to have played much havoc with the women. The weather is very difficult. It's very windy, and it makes playing extremely difficult. But outside of Mary Jo Fernandez, who did lose a set to Isabel DiMaggio, the top seeds in the women's side have come through very comfortably. The big news, however, on the women's side is the fact that Monica Seles, the #1 seed, who was down here, tried to practice a few days, had to pull out due to a bad case of the flu. So Steffi Graf moves into the #1 seeded position. But Fred, there are a lot of good players floating around in the women's side of the draw. Amanda Kutzer, who reached the finals of Palm Springs a couple of weeks ago, and Lindsay Davenport, a good young player who upset Gabriela Sabatini last week in Delray. Some good players, but you still have to go with some of the top players getting through, I think, in the early rounds.
Well, stay with us today because our program is a pretty exciting one for you. We have the defending champions in both men's and women's singles, Sanchez, Vicario and Chang, coming your way this afternoon, along with Sabatini and Stefan Edberg. So I hope you enjoy the rest of this windy week with us here at the Lipton. Now it's back to you, Chappelli.
And in the ladies, you just heard Betsy say that Steffi Graf has been pushed up to #1 because of Monica Seles dropping out of the tournament. Defending champion Arantxa Sanchez Vicario is seeded #2.
We have a lot of U.S. players that are still left in the men's section, but Mary, the men really have had American men have had a tough time. Let's take a look at the women.
Well, Steffi Graf hasn't had much trouble at all. In fact, she's only lost 4 games and she's into the 4th round. She's playing very good tennis. Patty Fendick is through. She's playing pretty well. I think she can win the next round as well over Farina, who had a mild upset over Sawamatsu. Still, you got to like Graf in that section in a big way.
Patty Fendick of the USA. A 4th round women's singles match.
That's Patty Fendick in the white cap on the near end of the court, and she's actually had a very good 1993 so far. In fact, she went over the $1 million career prize money mark just a couple of weeks ago. She got to a final in Oklahoma City, which was her first final since '89, so that's a nice effort. So far in this match, though, she is being outplayed by Graf. They've had a couple of really good points, but in this win, you can see she framed that one. Steffi Graf continues to serve very hard, and as we mentioned the other day, her forehand hasn't looked that sharp in a long time. At Patty Fendick, California.
From Sacramento.
These two have met 6 times, and Fendick has never beaten this woman, although she has taken her twice to 3 sets.
Dirty love.
Very scrappy player, Patty Fendick, and she'll throw all kinds of junk at you to try to win.
More well known as a doubles player, Mary, than singles, and as you mentioned, having a good year this year. Steffi Graf's been fortunate that she's played all the matches. She likes to play the matches early down here, and at the Lipton, she's out here again this morning early.
Fendick is actually ranked 35 in singles and 13 in doubles as of now. Lively and fun kind of young lady.
She once scared Steffi Graf at the U.S. Open, played her real close. And after the match, you know, we were all real impressed with her effort. We said, well, how do you describe your style of playing? She says, borderline psychotic.
She's not so young, actually, 27 years old. Graf holds on. She has the first set, 6-1, and leads 1 game to love in the second. Has only lost 1 match all year. Monica Seles has also only lost 1. That was to Martina Navratilova in Paris. So she heads the Kraft Tour points standings as of now, followed by Steffi Graf, then Martina Navratilova, Mary Jo Fernandez, and #5 Sanchez Vicario.
Now Seles was supposed to be playing here, as you see the rest of the 10. Amanda Kutzer, who plays Sabatini later today, she rounds out the top 10. Seles was entered in this event, and when she had to pull out with the flu, I mean, that really opens up the door for Steffi Graf. If Steffi gets to the final of the Lipton, she doesn't even have to win it. She will surpass Sellis and take over the Kraft point standings lead for the first time since November of 1990. And she is playing very, very good tennis right now.
This is Graf leading 1-0 in the second set. She won the first set 6-1, having very little trouble with Paddy Fendick so far today.
I thought the wind would play havoc with Steffi Graf's ball toss here, but it has not. She's played the matches early in the morning, and it's still very windy, but she has been able to handle it without any problems whatsoever. See the problem with the wind there, where Graf wanted to run around and hit the forehand, was caught. The wind sort of made her change her mind at the very last moment, and that caused the slice backhand to go long. The thing is, if you can get around and hit that big forehand shot, anybody that's got a big shot that can drive the ball through the wind, if they're in position, it certainly helps.
In her last outing, Paddy Fendick got to the final of the Oklahoma Classic, losing to Zina Garrison-Jackson in the final.
She's scrappy. Full of fist pump, this woman. I wonder if you guys remember a few years ago, she was playing Jennifer Capriati, Fendick. And she had a set, in fact, over Jennifer, and then she twisted her knee badly and needed to be helped off the court and had knee surgery, and it really took about a year out of her career.
There was one here.
Yeah.
There's that big forehand you're talking about. If you can get that in the hitting zone, you don't have to worry about the wind. But it's the slice backhand. Steffi Graf been working on that slice backhand to try and get a little more confidence in the roll backhand, the topspin backhand, and going to the net somewhat. But she really hasn't been tested today or in this event so far.
That's long.
But Paddy does something that very few players do against Graf. She always, I've seen them play a bunch of times, she always plays Steffi's forehand. She's not afraid to go there, although on a day like today, maybe she should be. But she's not afraid to go to the Graf forehand to try to find her backhand side.
They played at Wimbledon last year. Fendick won the first set before Graf won in 3. That was in the round of 16.
She is a good serve and volley player because of her expertise in doubles.
Paddy Fendick beat Jana Novotny at Wimbledon.
She's actually got a couple of the same strengths as Graf. She's real quick, and she's got a good forehand. She's got a real consistency problem, though. That is why. And I think someone like Steffi is a little bit luckier than Fendick in that Paddy sometimes, because she can hit hard, she can hit through the ball, she can dink it, she can chop it, she can slice it. She has too many choices sometimes, a little bit like Sabatini, where a strength can become a weakness. You know, she tries too many things or thinks about trying too many things.
I like the motion on the serve. It's a very compact motion because Fendick is not tall, but she's got a very good swing and gets a lot of kick, gets a lot of action on the serve.
That's a double fault, and she thought that she had that point and game won, but got a call that she didn't like.
You can see Graf again is wearing that body stocking underneath her clothing. She started that at the Australian this year.
Is that to keep her warm, or you can see Paddy just sort of admonishing herself there?
I think it's kind of a fashion statement, but on a day like today, it's not a bad idea to have an extra layer of skin. 2 doubles now.
Break point for Graf.
Take a guess. It's anywhere up there.
On a day like today, that's about it. Take a guess. It's anywhere up there.
Tell you what, she
got to find us.
Talking about a toss.
Talking about a ball toss. Yeah, it's 2 double faults in a row.
Lost to Monica Seles at the Australian this year. In fact, she was destroyed by her. Only won one game in that match in the 3rd round. Paddy Fendick. So did Steffi Graf lose to Monica Seles in the finals. So after all, Paddy Fendick makes a move.
Survives a couple of double faults there, and she thought she'd served an ace to win it. Good effort to come back.
One apiece in the second, first set easily to Graf. Graf ranked number 2 in the world, of course, after Seles.
With those tour rankings, if Graf wins here, takes over the #1 position on the craft tour, that does not necessarily make her the #1 player.
Oh no!
On the computer,
just
no.
on the. That's just as far as the craft tour points for the Virginia Slims Championships concerned.
Right.
So,
Top 16, of course, qualified to get into the Virginia Slims Championships, Madison Square Garden at the end of the year. At the Australian, actually, Graf looked very strong. Didn't lose a set. Beat Capriati and Sanchez Vicaria in the quarters and semis, respectively. And then in the finals, she won the first set from Monica Seles. And I thought she might go and win the whole thing, but then lost it in 3. But she won the Virginia Slims of Florida, just the last tournament she played.
There's that very high ball toss from Steffi Graf, and but it just has not affected her. She has served not brilliantly, but not a lot of double faults.
it is moving around though. Nice contact from Fendick, caught that nice and early. But she's been checking her toss.
Yep. As you said, Paddy Fendick a little inconsistent. That one she drove down, drove through the ball, was in the hitting zone. The point before, she tried to chip and caught it behind her shoulder.
Exactly.
I believe that Steffi should try and play points like that in the early round matches. I know this is getting along in the tournament a little bit now, but Martina Navratilova was great at that. She used to use the entire repertoire of shots in the early matches to practice them. That's what I'd like to see.
Martina, by the way, who's been bagging the whole clay court season the last few years, trying instead to concentrate on winning Wimbledon, we'll be playing at Amelia Island in a few weeks, so that'll be fun. We'll be there for 4 days of coverage of Amelia.
She's going over to England early, though, this year, isn't she, for Wimbledon, going to play the grass court tournaments there to try and...
Right, she's playing 2 grass events before, not Eastbourne. She normally plays Eastbourne.
Beckenham, I believe. So.
Yep, yeah, she's playing 2 of them. Last year, of course, Martina tried to play Eastbourne and lost in the second round, so she was very match shy going into Wimbledon. So she and Billie Jean discussed that she needed more matches, even on clay. So that'll be fun to have her around a little more this year.
Anyway, Steffi Graf, meanwhile, holds on, so she has a 2-game-to-1 lead here in the second set. She won the first set, 6 games to 1. We're on serve in the second. It's really not put on its best suit for this Lipton Championships again this year. It is raining today. A lot of people nevertheless made their way to the stadium. It is jammed trying to get in here at 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. Looking forward to a great day's play. The weather forecast was not good, but there was no guarantee of rain. Well, the rain actually, sadly, has happened and is still happening, but it is not raining very hard now. But the players will not be able to take this stadium court for, I would guess, at least another 30 minutes, even if it stops raining immediately. So not good news for South Florida, from South Florida for now. Anyway, we're going to be back with you tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, live coverage. In fact, through Friday with live coverage. We'll have the women's semi on Friday. One of the women's semis on Friday morning, actually at 1 a.m. That'd be late Thursday night, of course. Men's semi-final, we'll have one live at 1 p.m. on Friday, and then on Saturday morning, which is late Friday night on the East Coast, you can watch the second semi on tape.
Consult your newspapers. That's pretty much what we're trying to say.
And again, later today, we are hoping to bring you Andre Agassi and Jason Stoltenberg. They are already playing 5 games to love. Agassi leads, and he looks like he's in good shape in the first set. Then Gabriela Sabatini will play, followed, depending on the weather, by Boris Becker, who's the number 4 seed. He takes on Sweden's Nicholas Kulti. Now let's go back to early today. We were watching Steffi Graf and Paddy Fendick. Graf with the 2-game-to-1 lead in the second set. She won the first 6 games to 1.
Steffi Graf turned pro when she was 13 years old. Paddy Fendick went to college, had a terrific career, collegiate career at Stanford University. One of the very few women tennis players to have completed a college education. She's just laughing. These two, as I said, a lot of people like Paddy Fendick. It's not too hard to get along with her, and she and Steffi have been sort of laughing at the weather and the wind all day. Someone's moving around in the stands, and when the stands are empty like that, it's much easier to be distracted by someone moving around than when they're full.
Ooh, big return from Graf. What is your sense, Mary, of Steffi Graf's attitude at the moment?
Terrific. I think it's very, very good. I think she's, you know, even when she had all those problems, those personal problems in her family life a couple of years ago, I mean, she never stopped loving tennis, and she never, I don't think she ever lost, you know, her desire to be the very best. And I said it during the Australian Open, even though obviously Monica Seles is a very secure #1, Steffi, in my mind, has never played better.
And she's saying that as well.
Yeah.
I'm really playing as well as I ever have, really. It's just that everybody else is playing a little better than they used to. When I won the Grand Slam, nearly won 2 in a row, as a matter of
Well,
fact.
that's what happened with the women's game, wasn't it? We never thought anybody would come along to threaten Steffi Graf for 5 or 6 years.
Exactly.
And suddenly we read in the paper that Monica Seles beat Chris Evert Lloyd in Houston. And that was the start of it all.
Steffi Graf gets the breaker serve and leads 3 games to 1 in the second set. That's the first break here of the second set, although Fendick was in trouble on her last serve game, but held on. Yeah, count me among those, Fred, who thought that she was going to win at least a couple.
Well, I think you've got to put that down to equipment. We've talked about it a lot. I think the equipment has helped the women's game. It's a very enjoyable game to watch now from the women, the way they stroke the ball. If you're down at courtside, they really hit that ball hard. And you've got some of the girls now serve, some of the women now serve at over 100 miles an hour. I think in general on the women's tour now, Mary, there's a lot more depth and the women are in better shape. They're fitter than they were, say, 4 or 5 years ago. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, I think I'd give a lot of credit to Martina Navratilova for really upping the ante on physical fitness on the women's tour. I mean, it caused Chris Evert to get herself in even better shape. And Steffi Graf, of course, is a racehorse.
Yeah.
And Monica Seles, I really think her fitness has improved a lot. At the Australian again this year, she looked taller, bigger, stronger, faster. Yeah,
if anything was going to show up, it was the heat at the Australian Open. If she was going to get tired or cramp up, but
didn't happen.
So.
I still think the reason The difference, the reason that there's so much more depth in men's tennis and women's tennis is because so many men on tour, even if they're qualifiers, even if they're wild cards, so many men can hold serve. And that means that you're going to get great matches and you're going to get upsets, and there just aren't enough women who have a good enough service game to challenge the very top. They get broken all the time, just as Fendick is doing today. If they held serve more, we'd have a lot more top women.
Graf in control of this match, 6-1 in the first set, 4 games to 1 in the second. We'll take a break.
Up to play, and we're now looking at a 4th round match between Steffi Graf, the #1 seed, and Paddy Fendick. Graf is leading 6-1, 4-1 at the moment. Fendick about to serve in this match as we go back to our host network, ESPN.
Onto the tour. Not so with the women. You mentioned they turned pro much earlier.
Yeah, I think it's a real pity. I think that the college system, it's a wonderful farm system for the pro tour, and many more men, I think, go to college. Some of the women go, obviously, but they're entirely, to my mind, there are entirely too many women on the tour who don't even finish high school, and it's something I'd love to see the Women's Tennis Association do more. You know, they should continuing education, that kind of thing.
Paddy Fendick graduated from Stanford with a degree in psychology.
Yeah, it helped win the title a couple of times, and of course Stanford has had great tennis coaching now for so long. Dick Gould has created a lot of
certainly has
terrific tennis players. I mean, really helped their games along. Guys like David Wheaton, who showed up, you know, he showed up. He only played there for a year, but he was essentially a baseliner, and Dick Gould took one look at him. Well, he recruits guys for their size and their strength, and he said, you should be a certain player.
Good depth on that forehand from Fendick, and Steffi Graf has said more words to herself in one match today than I've heard from her in 12 months, and it's to do with the conditions. She's playing quite well, but still.
But she's a talker on the court.
She is, yeah.
She's lively and funny and fun. On the other hand, Steffi Graf is pretty much all business, isn't she? She is winning this match fairly comfortably. That gained her to Paddy Fendick, and it's 4 games to 2 now, Graf.
She's having a hard time returning, Fendick, and she should move her feet a little bit better. She kind of gets set and then just swings with her arm on returns, and you have to have very good timing to get away with that.
Good return of serve, and a good move, too. When she saw that Graf was on her heel, she came into the net. Ken Rosewall style play.
I like the fact that Graf attempted a topspin backhand passing shot there. I don't care if she misses misses a few, because she's not in any danger of losing this match at this stage, but she needs to practice that shot if she's to threaten players like Monica Seles when they meet.
Fred, I'll second that one. We have some disagreements from time to time about strategy and the way to play, but on that one I'm on your team. Paddy Fendick, we said, number 35 in the world. She got the semi-finals last year in Zurich. She beat Manuela Mileva-Franier and also had a win over Zina Garrison-Jackson there.
Break point opportunity now for Paddy Fendick. Let's see if she can take advantage of this.
Wouldn't argue so with what she did, would you? Coming into the net like that, just putting the pressure on Graf.
No,
she missed the volley.
She could have made that too.
Yep.
That's a big point for her. That could have kept her in this match.
Well played. Took advantage of the fact that Graf hit 2 slice backhands in that rally when she could have come over the first one.
Talking about Garrison Jackson, incidentally, the winner of this match will take on either Garrison Jackson or Natalie Toziat, who's the number 8 seed. Sina Garrison seeded 11 in the tournament. So Steffi Graf broken for the first time in the match. Paddy Fendick still trailing 4-3 in the second set. Graf won the first 6-1. We'll be back. The entire Mary Carillo fan club is out here today watching this championship. I got that idea from the truck, excuse me. They wanted to say Cliff Drysdale fan club.
I thought that was a guy watching you do the Open. That's what.
The fans here are not enjoying the fact that there is no tennis being played. What can they say? They will stick around anyway. It is still raining, and it is not letting up yet. It's not heavy rain, but the fact is that on if this was a clay court, actually, we may be playing tennis now, but it's not. The weather is, as you see, 71 degrees, rain as of now, gusts up to 30 miles an hour. Fortunately, it is not near that at this point in time anyway. But it is drizzling. Virginia Slim's rankings as of now, of course, Monica Seles leads that group as well. Steffi Graf at number 2, Mary.
Yeah, Martina Navratilova, again, she's played 3 tournaments so far this year. She got to the final of 1. She won the other 2, including wins over Steffi Graf in 1, over Monica Seles in the other. And she's playing very good tennis. Arantxa Sanchez Vicario is 4, Sabatini at 5. All pretty much expected. Capriati is 6, Mary Jo Fernandez, Conchita Martinez, Novanda, and then Manuela Maleva-Franier,
who made her move at the end of last year. Of course, Jennifer Capriati out of this championship. Let's go back now to a match played earlier today between Graf and Fendick. Graf leading 6-1. First set, 4-3 now in the second. This is Paddy Fendick. We're on serve in the second set. Fendick to serve.
Well-played point there from Graf. Took a point out of Fendick's book from the last game. Got a couple of short replies off the backhand side and then spanked the forehand and really charged that backhand volley. Graf technically volleys very well. Just doesn't like to go in that often, though. At one stage, he played some doubles to try and help that part of the game, but has not played much doubles this year, Mary.
Yeah, that's exactly right. She actually played with Gabriela Sabatini, and they were a pretty formidable team for a while. And then Carlos Kiermaier, when he took over the coaching of Sabatini, he said that psychologically he felt it was really hurting Sabatini to play doubles with Graf.
I think that's crazy.
They split up. But Graf plays some. She played, in fact, won a tournament in Germany last year with her good buddy Renee Stubbs.
Yeah, Stubbsy, yep. Renee Stubbs, an Australian who plays excellent doubles, and I think has got a lot of talent in singles, just can't sort of put it together at the moment, though. But she's still only young.
30-15. Game point for Paddy Fendick to get even here in the second set. She was down 4-1, remember, and she lost the first set 6-1. hits that forehand very late, and she prepares for it very late. So that's not a shot that's really out of the tennis forehand textbook, is it? But it sure has a good result. So Paddy Fendick holds on, and it's 4 games all in the second.
I wonder what goes through a player's mind like Steffi Graf or Arantxa Sanchez Vicario, top players, Monica Seles, when somebody gets to 4 in a set in the early rounds. Doesn't often happen.
Chris Everett says of that time in a match, she said when she was real confident, she could be down 3-5, and she just knew in her head there was no way that player was going to win it. You know, she said, I knew I was going to win that match. I knew I was going to win. You know, get out of trouble. I got to think that Steffi Graf has earned the right to feel that way against Fendick. Yeah. She's 6-0 against her.
Doesn't look worried, does she?
Looks a little impatient.
Well, she's always that way, isn't she? Because she plays at a faster pace than anybody else on the tour.
Quarter-finalist in the women's singles will take home just short of $17,000. And that is what they are playing for today. Graf holds on. She leads 5 games to 4, so her job will be to break Paddy Fendick of the USA to win this match in straight sets. She leads 5-4, 6-1 the first. Shot from the Lipton Championships of the Tennis Center at Crandon Park. We're in Key Biscayne, Florida, where the weather has been very unkind to this championship again. Let's take a look at what they are playing for here. The winner of the women's singles to take over $135,000 and 300 Craft Tour points. And then they are playing for $16,925 to get to the quarterfinals. It's the round of 16 matches today here. Also worth 75 points. Now, let's see, what have we got here? Somebody talking to Fred Stolle on the phone, I think, and he says, Fred, listen, I like Paddy Fendick in this match. Who are you going for? I think she can come back, get a break here, and Fred's telling him.
I'll send the message down. Tell him, no, don't worry about it.
The umbrellas are out today here at Crandon Park, unfortunately. And boy, we've said this a few times. I want to say it again. This is very bad weather for South Florida. Look, anybody in the East Coast knows that the weather basically up and down the East Coast is just terrible. And unfortunately, South Florida has not been spared. Let's get back now to a match played early today. Steffi Graf and Paddy Fendick of the USA. 6 games to 1 first set. Graf leading 5 games to 4. Fendick to serve, so we're on serve in the second. This is the Lipton Championships. Cliff Drysdale, Mary Carillo, and Fred Stolle.
Steffi Graf winning the opening point gives her an opportunity here to go for broke, have a hit out on the return if
Fendick misses her first serve.
I really feel that Graf was the first woman player to develop a huge, a real scary return game. And of course, now Monica Seles has an even better return game than Graf. That'll stay in. Now 2 points from the match, but it helps Steffi so much. I mean, everything she hits, and there's the Graf family there. Heinz Guntard, her coach in the white cap, and her mother Heidi, Peter Graf, her father, who's not often around these days. Steffi largely just travels with her coach and mom now, but he's behind there too. They have a place here, about an hour up the road. And Peter Graf and Steffi's brother, Michael, hang around there quite a bit.
Love 30.
With a big return game and, of course, the Graf, the big serve, she can try to attack and dominate a point from the first hit. That's what she does sometimes. She practices a two-handed backhand. Sometimes you wonder if...
There was a time she was thinking about actually starting to try to play with two hands.
It looked like it at the end of her practice sessions for a while when Monica Seles started to dominate her. It seemed like, she'd take a little time off at the end of her practice sessions. And I don't know if she was just making contact to understand the two-handed backhand of Seles or if she was actually considering doing it. Of course, I really don't think you can do that. Very few people have really... Remember Paul McNamee tried to do that at the end of his career, really, the last couple of years of his career.
Actually, it worked for him. I mean, he really improved his game when he did that.
He took 12 months off, though, and went out to Harry Hopman's and just worked on hitting two-handers.
It's a hard thing to do as an adult, you know?
30 all. Wide, so game point for Patty Fendick here.
Her brother Michael, by the way, is a race car driver, and he's supposed to be a pretty good one. He's tried a couple of things, and this seems to be his passion of late. Popped it.
That is long. Was it, Fred, were you asking just last game what Steffi Graf was thinking at 4 games all? What's going through her mind? Question now, how does Patty Fendick feel? There's the Graf clan again. Peter Graf in the back there, as you were talking about, Mary. Deuce. There's match point for Graf. I answer my own question. I mean, it's a tough position for her to be in. As we said, she's never beaten Steffi Graf. Last time they played was at Wimbledon this last year. She got a set from Graf and then lost it in 3. But this could be it. Hit on the backhand attempted passing shot. Way long, and Steffi Graf, the top seed, is through to the next round of the Lipton for 1993. She will take on either Zina Garrison-Jackson or Natalie Toziat, the number 8 seed. Mary?
I think she can get past either one of those. Very happy, relaxed Graf. Both she and Patty are smiling right now. Someone in the stand said something. You know, 1-4 against Fendick. She really has now lost... only 9 games, and she's already into the quarters. I think she's looking real good.
So Graf threw over Patty Fendick, 6-1, 6-4, straight set win for her.